Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good afternoon to all of us. Ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to Singapore, His Excellency Suryo Pratomo. Director General of National Export Development, Ministry of Trade of the Republic of Indonesia, Mr. Kasan. President of Singapore Jewelers Association, Mr. Charles Ho Nai Chuan. Director of Business Development Southeast Asia, Taiwan, and Korea Sarin Hong Kong Limited, Mr. Nicholas Chua. Graduate Gemologist, IV Masterpiece Pte Ltd, Mr. Ronald Low. Chairman of Indonesian Jewellery Producer, Mr. Edi Susanto Yahya. Trade Attaché of Indonesian Embassy in Singapore, Mr. Rumaksono. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Embassy of the Republic of Indonesia in Singapore, I would like to welcome all of you virtually to Indonesia and Singapore Jewelry Industry Meetup and Business Matching 2020. This event is also broadcasted live in our YouTube channels and Facebook Live at IDSG Jewellery. I would like also to inform our distinguished participants. The question and answer session will be conducted at the end of this event. So please feel free to type in the question in the comment section on YouTube and also Facebook chat. We will read your question and answer later on. Ladies and gentlemen, and all the distinguished participants, now I may commence the event by honorably inviting the Ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to Singapore, His Excellency Suryo Pratomo, to deliver the welcome remarks.
Thank you, Ratu. Director General of National Export Development, Ministry of Trade of Indonesia, Bapak Kasan. President of Singapore Jewelers Association, Mr. Ho Nai Chuan. Director of Business Development, Sarin Hong Kong Limited, Mr. Nicholas Chua. Director of Business Development, Southeast Asia, Taiwan and Korea, Sarin Hong Kong Limited, Mr. Nicholas Chua. Graduate Gemologist, IV Masterpiece Public Listed Company, Mr. Ronald Low. Chairman of Indonesia Jewellery Producer, Mr. Edi Susanto Yahya. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon and best wishes to all of you. It is a great pleasure that I welcome all of you to Indonesia and Singapore Jewellery Industry Meetup and Business Matching today. Singapore is Indonesia's fifth main exporter destination country with a total trade value in 2019 $30.5 billion, consisting of $11.6 billion of oil and gas and $18.4 billion of non-oil and gas export, where non-oil and gas export itself amount at $9.4 billion, with its dominated export of gold and jewelry, or HS code 71, which is $3.2 billion, a quite significant value. Up to October 2020, trade between the two countries is still running well. Indonesia non-oil and gas export to Singapore for January to October 2020 period amount to $7.3 billion, while non-oil and gas import were 6.7 billion US dollar, and Indonesia recorded a surplus in the non-oil and gas sector of 607.3 million US dollar. However, we need to pay attention more on this since our non-oil gas export trend tend to decline. Given that Singapore is a very strategic country for Indonesia, we need to improve trade relations between the two countries through the development of export products and make Singapore an international trade hub so that Indonesia product can penetrate better on the global market. Likewise, Singapore can see Indonesia apart from being a large market, but a strategic trade and investment partner. I hope that this webinar and B2B business matching can improve trade relations between the two countries and gain a new mutual beneficial opportunity. Gold and gold-based jewelry are strategic products where world demand is still high, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. People keep their investment in gold and gold-based jewelry because of their stable value and even tend to increasing. Promotion in the gold sector and gold jewelry is on the right timing, just before the giving season of Christmas and New Year. In addition to gold trading opportunities, there are also opportunities in services, namely jewelry designer, unlike in Indonesia. People in Singapore will buy gold not based on the weight of the gold, but from its design. The design from famous designer will increase the selling price of the jewelry. Indonesia has potential in this regard. Therefore, on this webinar, we can convey jewelry designer from Indonesia give their design, especially from Bali, which also receive a high demand across the world. Therefore, the webinar event that we have today can be one of the attempts in promoting Indonesia gold and jewelries to Singapore. There will be 8 Indonesian companies and 3 Indonesian Jewelers Association that will exhibit their gold and jewelry product in this webinar. They have been operating for years in Indonesia and very reputable as well as export-oriented. We hope that Singapore can also be like Hong Kong and Dubai. These two cities are famous for their gold and jewelries, in which their product originated from Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, after the webinar, we will also have one-on-one meeting. I hope that many businesses deal can be generated from the meeting. I wish you a fruitful webinar and one-on-one meeting ahead. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Excellency, for the welcome remarks for this webinar and also business matching. Ladies and gentlemen, and all the distinguished participants, now I have the honor to invite all of you to hear the remarks by respectively Director General of National Export Development, Ministry of Trade of the Republic of Indonesia, Mr. Kasan, to deliver his remarks.
Director of Export Development Products of the DGNet, Minister of Trade, Mrs. Olfi, will be joined by virtual meeting from Indonesia. I really appreciate the initiation of this event to the Indonesian Embassy in Singapore, especially Indonesian Attaché in Singapore. Ladies and gentlemen, pandemic COVID-19 has slowed down the economy and trade of most countries in the world, including Indonesia. In the first quarter of 2020, Indonesian economy grew by 2.97%. But entering the third quarter, it contracted to minus 3.5%. Then I also took note the economy of Singapore down minus 7.6% in the third quarter in 2020. In terms of trade balance between Indonesia and Singapore in period of January to October this year, recorded surplus $1.1 billion for Singapore. So therefore, to increase the bilateral trade for both countries, we need to create innovation and develop further the diversification of export of product and markets, as well as to strengthen the synergy between us. Ladies and gentlemen, gold and gold jewelry are strategic products in global markets, including for both countries. Last year, the main exporter of gold products in the world were dominated by the United Emirates Arab, 12.8%, China 12.3%, India 10.5%, Switzerland 9.2%, as well as the United States of America 7.9%. Singapore was recorded the 12th and Indonesia the 14th exporter of gold and gold jewelry in the global market, with market share 2.3% and 1.5% respectively. In pandemic situation, we identified the demand of gold products in the international markets increased 1% in the first quarter this year. The demand of gold products also tend to increase next year because consumers mostly buy jewelry of gold to invest instead of for fashion such as in America. However, in the 5 years period recorded that Indonesia figure of export for gold products in the global markets have dropped by 16%. Furthermore, Indonesia performance of export for gold product in period of January to September this year was $1.1 billion or decreased almost 34% compared to the same period last year. Main export destination for gold products from Indonesia were Switzerland, 33%, the United States of America, 33.2%, Hong Kong, 12.9%, the United Emirates Arab, 5.6%, and Singapore, 9.9%. On the other hand, in terms of quality and design, Indonesian gold jewelry products have the competitiveness because it made by combination handmade and technology. Indonesian craftsmen of jewelry are reliable and have a high skill for gold crafting. Besides that, the Indonesian gold jewelry is also wear by international artists such as Mariah Carey and Carrie Underwood in the 55th Annual Academy of Country Music Award in Nashville, the United States of America. Ladies and gentlemen, Singapore as a strategic partner for Indonesia bilaterally or in ASEAN, as well as in FX, RCEP, and WTO, and also have lots of FTA with other countries. Close to Indonesia and one of the world's lifestyle countries in Asia for fashion and jewelry. So this is an opportunity for Indonesia to enhance trade cooperation between Indonesia and Singapore. Ladies and gentlemen, in this situation, we have to catch the opportunity to increasing trade of Indonesia and Singapore, especially gold jewelry, to the global market. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. That was the remarks from the Director General of National Export Development, Ministry of Trade of the Republic of Indonesia, Mr. Kasan. And now, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished participant, I would like to welcome the President of Singapore Jewelers Association, Mr. Charles Ho Nai Chuen, to give his remark.
Good afternoon, His Excellency Suryo Pratomo, Ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to Singapore, Dr. Kasan, Director General of National Export Development, Ministry of Trade and the Republic of Indonesia, Mr. Edi Susanto Diakya, Chairman of the Association of Indonesia Jewelry Producers, Mr. Rumasono, Trade Attaché of the Indonesia Embassy in Singapore. Very good afternoon and very honored to be invited to this Singapore and Indonesia and Singapore jewelry seminar. I know that the time is really very tight, so I would just like to give an overall view of what is happening in Singapore and what are the things that we need to pay attention to going forward. Driven by the explosive expansion of the middle class, I think Asia now accounts for more than 50% of the global fine jewelry market. And growth in the Asian fine jewelry market will continue to outpace the global market by at least 1.5 times in the next 5 years. However, spoil from the burgeoning jewelry market are not evenly spread or distributed. While developing markets like India, China, Malaysia, Thailand have enjoyed enviable growth, developed markets like Singapore, Hong Kong, including China, and Japan are clearly slowing down. And this information, I think, was before the pandemic. So we could pay particular attention to. And now that we are in the midst of the pandemic, and it's still rising, spiking in terms of the number of COVID cases and so on. But on the other hand, there are opportunities open, very new opportunities for jewelers to explore. So I hope that all the jewelers can take this opportunity, don't be so demoralized, and think must be very hopeful that no matter how we still have to hold exhibition, we still have to travel when situation improve further. Just for maybe for the guests and also for some of the participants, and for Singapore watch and jewelry trade, and you know that because Singapore encountered the circuit breaker during April and also May, so we only opened up phase 2 on the 19th of June. So as you can see that the jewelry and watch trade really declined tremendously. And as for what I have in the data here, year on year in October, we are still down in terms of jewelry trade, about 24.3%. And for, of course, we rise from the low base. From June until now, we may see that month by month is on the rise. But on the other hand, if compared to the year on year, we are still very much behind the target. So this is something that we need to catch up. And as of the 23rd of November, this year, our forecast of the GDP was this year will be around minus 6.5% to 6%. And hopefully next year we can achieve 4 to 6%. I think this is the most optimistic that everybody is hoping for. And based on the estimates that our export really down quite substantially, and really we have to make up by having more bilateral trades, especially the jewelry exchanges. I think jewelers from both like Indonesia and Singapore, we have to really work very hard to link up with each other. I think this B2B platform is very useful for our jewelers to catch up. And some basic data on gold. Singapore is also very fond of gold jewelry and also diamond. As what I get, the November figure is that gold exports account for about 3.14% of the Singapore's yearly exports, and majority of the shipments headed for Cambodia, which take up about 38.2%, followed by China 22.6%. And Singapore accounts for about 3.32% of all the gold exports in the world. So the global market is about 305 billion per year globally. And as for diamond, the global export market for diamond is worth about 116 billion annually, of which Singapore has about 0.87% share, which is about 1.01 billion in the yearly exports. So Singapore's total value of diamond exports grew by about 10.2% in the past 5 years. Indonesian jewelers may want to know certain things about exporting to Singapore. So this Singapore tax structure is rather simple, and all goods brought into Singapore, other than those exempt products, are subject to the goods and services tax. So we call GST. At the prevailing rate is about 7% on the value of the goods. Also includes of the cost, insurance and freight charges, plus other chargeable costs and the duty payable. And we do have some exemption. For example, we call the IPM gold metal. This is called the import of the investment precious metal, we call IPM, into Singapore for commercial and personal use. This is exempted from GST. And we also have a temporary import scheme. The temporary import scheme is designed to allow traders to temporarily import goods for approved purposes up to a maximum of 6 months, with the suspension of the GST and duty. So I think if you are bringing in goods, don't worry. I think if you are not selling, it's only for sample. They are not chargeable. So upon the transaction, and you will be able to, the tax department will tax you 7%. So this is a very simplistic tax system. And another development which I think Singapore Jeweller Association engaged a consultant to find out what has changed, especially in terms of jewelry. We have some very important information which I would like to share with all the participants and all the speakers here. And there are altogether 5 consumer shifts in terms of how you see jewelry. For example, we used to buy possession of to demonstrate your success. For example, you buy a piece of jewelry to demonstrate that you have made it and you are rather successful. And now the trend is that buying experience rather than to own the piece of jewelry. So it's like the buying experience. I may not want to say that I demonstrate that I succeed already, then I show you the piece of jewelry, but not. It's the experience. It's the design, and for possession is declining in favor of spending on experiences. So this is very important because many people think that, oh, I still want to own a piece of jewelry, but not. It's the experience of going to the jewelry shop, the experience of having the jewelry. It's not a must own. And the second trend is that we used to say buying to save and keep forever. You buy something, one piece of jewelry, very, very valuable, and you say, I want to pass on to the next generation. And now people have changed the pattern. They rather say, I want to buy to wear for now. So there's one catch here. There's a rental economy is taking the shine from ownership. So I'm not sure whether or not you do feel it. Some people may say that I don't want to own because it's if I buy, then the money being sucked up and the money cannot be used for other purposes. So maybe I should rent a piece of jewelry. So this is another development which I think our jewelers may have to pay particular attention to. So as I say, from another trend is that an expression of wealth and status now become an expression of identity. It's the individual style and also individual beliefs. So jewelry brands need to stand for something or you stand aside. So this is rather important statement. And usually jewelry used to be that looks good, but now jewelry that's both beautiful and functional. So you buy a piece of jewelry not only for the beauty of the jewelry, but also functional, like it look good, and also you can the jewelry, like you put on the ring and the thing you can play with, something that functional, even like maybe to be able to share with other people that this is something like a IT product. So you can make a piece of jewelry with the IT elements inside. So this is another trend that which I would like our traders and jewelry manufacturers to pay particular attention to. Okay, then the last but not the least is buying one of many. So you may used to be buying jewelry just for the sake of buying, but now no, you are buying unique designs. You're buying the material that are one of its kind. So you may have to think twice before you manufacture a product. That particular product got to be quite unique. It has got to be very design oriented and one of its kind that people really envy what you own. And another area which I think a lot of people are quite interested is that then what about e-commerce? What about the if now physical store may not attract as many as the shoppers in the shopping mall, then what about e-commerce? But when we look at the e-commerce in Singapore, for jewelry sector, I think it's still rather low in terms of the makeup of it, but it's on the rising trend. So we are not very sure not whether or not jewelry buyers still prefer something to be you're able to touch it, you're able to feel it, you are able to appreciate in the physical store, or you just buy off the shelf because you just buy from, say, clicking your handphone, you just want to buy and may not give you the kind of safety or to safeguard your interest. You may end up having to return the items and you get a refund. It's quite a cumbersome process. So do pay attention. On the other hand, it may turn up to be quite a big market, but I do feel that for chain store, for example, you are selling some of the smaller pieces, e-commerce is still very viable because all these are quite standard and in terms of purchasing power is quite affordable. But on the other hand, if you are dealing with high ends, you are dealing with something that uniquely designed for certain segment of the markets or certain jewelry lovers. I would think that the e-commerce may not be the right platform yet, but we can look up for that. And if you are going to e-commerce, I think most importantly is that to logistics, how you're going to make sure that your software is functional and also you deliver your product, your logistics supplies to see whether you're able to deliver on time to make sure that your customers are happy with your service. So in the essence of time, I would like to thank everybody for this particular seminar. Do stay back later on if there's opportunity for some of participants to do the B2B business matching. So appreciate and do stay safe and also keep fit while during the pandemic, and also Merry Christmas and Happy New Year in advance. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Charles, for the wonderful remark and also saying Happy New Year and also Merry Christmas to all of us. Now let us hear the speech from the Director of Business Development of Southeast Asia, Taiwan, and Korea, Sarin Hong Kong Limited, Mr. Nicholas Chua.
Hi, good afternoon, His Excellency Mr. Suryo, Dr. Kaisan, Mr. Ho, Mr. Eddie, Mr. Rumasono, Mr. Ronald, Ms. Ratu, and fellow attendees. First and foremost, I would like to thank Trade Attaché, Embassy of the Republic of Indonesia in Singapore for inviting me as one of the speakers for today's event. Without further ado, I shall start my slide presentation now. Well, today's topic will be the new jewelry decade. As you can see in this picture, is about embracing technology in our industry. Now, for the past few years, everyone understands that about importance of technology innovations and digitalization. However, it's a slow pace that in the process of transition for most of us to realize. Now, with the pandemic present since end of last year, now this suddenly enhanced the progression of transformation of digitalization in most aspects of our life. So change is inevitable. The outlook. It was not long ago in 2019 Dubai Diamond Conference that key panelists addressing about harnessing innovation and technology for positive change. Now, jewelry industry players has been navigating through volatility of the market that still lies ahead since few years ago. Now, perhaps most notably, jewelers are embracing technology to improve the efficacy of communication at businesses level from every stage of involvement in order to ensure the efficiency to grow. So therefore, our industry will look very different in 10 years from now. From changes in rough buying to automated grading, jewelry industry community is making a transition period in order to build adaptive capacity for new challenge and methods of overcoming obstacles. The pipeline. As you can see, these are the pictures in our pipeline involving producers, manufacturers, traders, laboratories, and retailers. It looks simple and understandable, but it carries heavy weight on much complexity of activities that happening in each segment. Now, for example, producers, Orosa introduced rough diamond digital tenders for its site holders. Now, rough stones will be scanned using Serene Galaxy for data storage and diamond planning. Now, stone shape, size, color, clarity are available for analysis. Now, the benefits of these rough digital stones includes minimize procurement risk, improve manufacturing lead time, and reduce the overall cost. Another example will be Lucara Corporations expand the collaborations with Sarin on the Clara initiative provenance traceability. Example, LVMH currently bringing in 1,758 carats of Civello and 549 carats of Cetunia crystal clear rough diamonds with exceptional purity, high luster, and high color that was discovered on February 1st this year in Lucara Caruel mine in Botswana to showcase to their client in Singapore. So this is one of very good examples of storytelling to the consumer. Blockchain enable traceability. Now, how do you connect physical stones with the digital report? Now, we have known that traceability with declarations, warrant, and so on. So we know that blockchain contain the informations of diamonds. Now, it must be each process of from mining, cutting, polishing, and certifications of stones to be scanned using machines and upload in the cloud system. Now, it's all boiled down to the necessity to ensure that the data is provided to the end consumer is verifiable and authentic. Now, next will be manufacturers and traders. Manufacturers start adopting automated diamond manufacturing. It will take time and it's a process. Now, before automated manufacturing come into pictures 20 years ago, a lot of industry players worry that with less human interventions, so jobs will be taken away. Now, the results are reverse versions whereby new jobs titles are needed and created. Example, in Surat, the major hub for diamond cutting and polishing where staffs are trained and guided. Now, this initiative is to empower them, the high skill to operating the machines. And eventually the number of people that involved in diamond planning increase because sometimes jobs evolve and it brings value. Now, traders can communicate effectively with retailers regarding about latest development, which will improve and bring additional value to supply chain. Now, with technology on board, it is resolving the issue of unneeded stock that's stuck in the pipeline because rough diamonds usually come out from the mine and take longer time to reach the end consumer. Now, this will create a small gap of differences and to adjust between supply and demand. As for laboratories, information has always been the core value that retailers and consumers look forward for. Now, with the success of AI in forces automated grading in place, for instance, Tiffany & Co. collaborate with Sarin Technologies for AI and forces since October last year. Now, this will help their retail segment to prosper. Now, laboratory like GIA also using Dimension HD for measuring stones proportion. So we shall see this new wave of demanding from consumers to retailers that are looking forward for a promising new level of technologies innovation from a reliable and prominent firm. As for retailers, need to bring in this new injection of buying modes to the market. So this is to cater the future generation transformation needs with the retail participation. So it's regard as retailers building their credibility through technology and eventually changing the consumer propositions. Now you must understand where the industry is heading. So needed to start before the change happen in a widespread manner, and dramatically you have to prepare yourself on these escalated demands. Example, online experience creates awareness, and in-store experience is to enhance the consumer purchase process while building the trust and confidence. Example, Tiffany & Co. introducing their craftsmanship journey in the retail store, starting from US region recently. Southeast Asia. So when we talk about Southeast Asia, I would like to touch on the main three key points. Even though today's event involving most jewelers from Indonesia and Singapore who wish to know what kind of information and options are available for them. Market penetration and opportunity. Now, it's through the collaborations with partners and organizers through business event and show, such as next year, 8 to 11 of July, as IJE show in Marina Bay Sands. Understand the directions of region industry players. Second key point will be attribute of technology power. Through exposure of exhibition, dialogues, and conferences. And we need to engage in constant direct communications with firms and stay updated. The last key point will be understand the change of consumers' behavior. The consumer force today is demanding jewelry industry to be more transparent of its trading practices. And we need to provide a new whole buying powers and experience to surpass the consumer's expectation. Now, the modern consumer is tech-savvy and digital experience in store will enhance consumer engagement. Touch screen visualization and virtual educations can help to increase the traffic and the conversion rate. So this is the photo of the Sarin Technology Lab. So I like to say technology is here to stay. So we have achieved significant milestones for the past 3 decades. So it's the evolutions, and indeed it's happening now. Now, in fact, we have noticed that many of the industry players have acted and responding on current and future needs in order to gain the edge and to seize the opportunity. So introductions of technology will bring a lot of additional added value in the pipeline. And I believe technology advancement helping a business prosper further for many good years to come. So I wish everyone healthy and stay safe until we meet each other at exhibition and event in near future. So I would like to end my presentations and leave it to the host. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nicholas from Sarin, for the presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, and all the distinguished participants, now let us hear from Mr. Ronald Lowe, a graduate gemologist from IV Masterpiece.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. First and foremost, I'd like to shout out and thank His Excellency Suryo Pratomo, the Ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to Singapore. Of course, Dr. Kassan, the Director General of National Export Development, Ministry of Trade of the of the Republic of Indonesia, and of course, Mr. Eddie Susanto Yarha, Chairman and the Association of Indonesian Jewellery Producers, Mr. Rumak Sono, Trade Attaché of the Indonesian Embassy in Singapore, and my fellow speakers, Mr. Ho Naijin, and President of the Singapore Jewelers Association, and Mr. Nicholas Chua, and last but not least, Ms. Ratu for hosting all of us. Yes, and today I'll be covering the opportunities and trends for jewelry in Singapore. Of course, luxury jewelry in Singapore has quite a fair bit of revenue every year. It's estimated US 396 million to be our revenue to be our expected revenue in 2020, and based on this, they usually are estimating our revenue to actually grow 8.5% every year. However, COVID has thrown quite a significant wrench in our plans, and this year we've experienced a 16% decline in our jewelry sales revenue as Singapore as a total. As for Ivy Masterpiece, the last couple of months have been quite interesting actually. So we've actually experienced a 300% increase in sales revenue for the last month, and I think that actually attributes to the revenge spending of the consumers here in Singapore. Well, this is of course due to the fact that a lot of them are not traveling, and with the extra income, they are able to spend or diversify a bit more of their personal wealth into jewelry and precious metals. So it's definitely a good opportunity for us to take advantage of this, and of course capitalize that of their increased spending. I would also suggest that we build up strong local roots in this particular time. So the fact that we are unable to travel, meet our suppliers, barter deals physically, of course, also has hampered a lot of buying procedures that normally do happen during trade exhibitions, where we are able to see a large variety of goods in stock over a very short period of time. With this lockdown and restrictions of travel, these e-commerce platforms have been really fundamental in keeping us up to date with the global situation in terms of both finished made up jewelry and of course the rough. So definitely we taking advantage of the online platforms, which should go hand in hand in the production of should go hand in hand into the sourcing of jewelry. Thus, I think at this time, strengthening the bonds with our Indonesian counterparts with these B2B seminars, webinars, is really fantastic, because without this codependency, we will not be able to achieve or get the goods needed for us to service our local market. In terms of in terms of what goods have been moving, I think the traditional gold and diamonds have been moving, for us, have been moving the highest, as they have not only are they a value-added investments in terms of being able to retain value whilst wearing them, the ability to actually diversify your personal your wealth in these particular um, uh, items also is very, very beneficial, in the sense that they are appreciating asset. In light of COVID, of course, these assets have appreciated greatly, like the safe haven commodity of which is gold. And of course, in diamonds, there have been a there have been a sizable increase of about maybe 8 to 10% from the Rappaport price list, due to the scarcity and the inability of the factories to operate. Thus, in Singapore, I think to take advantage of the revenge spending, we should of course stock up on probably diamonds and diamond jewelry as like, and of course not neglecting the design aspect that goes into all of this. So being able to manufacture locally is also something that is important, or import jewelry from abroad, because during this time a lot of factories have shut down. So well, not shut down, I mean ceased operations due to the individual country's restrictions. So being able to operate in a safe and large, in a safe space while manufacturing jewelry per se would be key to actually servicing your local market, or actually Singapore in essentiality. So yeah. Also, let me just bring up a couple of things here. In terms of shifting towards the purely e-commerce platform, I think for Singapore, I think that would be highly unlikely, because for us being such a small island, we also need to be able to not only build an online presence, but also have a physical brick and mortar store, for our customers to probably experience jewelry. The reports that I have read, in regards to bespoke jewelry being sold online, there seems to be a threshold of about $10,000 for jewelry, 10,000 Singapore dollars more or less, being sold online. And I think a physical or brick and mortar store will actually facilitate the ability to actually transact bigger deals, as at the end of the day we have a very physical product which is a very large commitment. Thus being able to minimize or mitigate any post-purchase dissonance in terms of our consumers being able to touch, feel the product would be very essential. Thus, if we are importing items in, the TIB permit, as mentioned by Mr. Ho Nigerian, is a very, very effective tool in actually allowing our counterparts overseas to be able to exhibit their wares through our retail store, or the ability to actually bring in goods without tying up too much finances and showing it to the end consumer. So I think that actually brings my talk to a close. So thank you so much for having me, and wishing everyone good health during this time, and let's all stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ronald Lowe. Yes, I wish you good health as well in this situation. Ladies and gentlemen, and all the distinguished participants, now let us hear the speech from the chairman of Indonesian jewelry producer, Mr. Edi Susanto Yahya. Sorry, yours.
Thank you, Ms. Ratu. Yeah, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. His Excellency Mr. Suryo Pratomo, Ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to Singapore, Mr. Kasan, Director of General of National Export Development, Ministry of Trade of the Republic of Indonesia, Mr. Charles Ho, President of Singapore Jewelers Association, Mr. Nicholas Chua, Director of Business Development, Southeast Asia, Taiwan, and Korea, Sherin Hong Kong Limited, Mr. Ronald Low from IV Masterpiece, also Mr. Rumaksono, Trade Attaché at Embassy of the Republic of Indonesia in Singapore. Please let me share my presentation. Okay. All right. Yeah, it is a very big privilege for me to be able to represent Association of Indonesian Jewelry Producers. My name is Edi Susanto Yahya, and today I want to be a salesman. I want to convince everybody who saw this that Indonesian manufacturer has been improved a lot. It's proven that lately, even a very famous singers like Mariah Carey and Carrie Underwood is wearing one of our products from Indonesia, SS Jewelry. It's such an honor and such a proud for us as Indonesian manufacturer to be able to provide to a famous artist in US to wear it. Our association is called API, and there are 11 gold jewelry manufacturers inside API. Of course, every factory have different characteristic, have different design, okay, but we have produced many different karat, from 24 karat, 22, 18, 14, 10, 9, and even 8 karat. And I believe in Singapore, mostly the jewelry shop are selling 22 karat and 18 karat, which we are very capable of doing that. Right now, the question is, why you should consider Indonesian company as your jewelry supplier? Of course, there are many competitors from different countries. But first of all, the first reason is because our quality has been widely accepted in more than 30 countries, including US, Europe, like Italy, for example. We know that Italy has been the central country for the central design or the technology of jewelry. But we managed to export our product from Indonesia even to Italy also. We also sell our product to Middle East like Dubai and also surrounding countries, and to Asia, also including Singapore. Some of our factories in API also already sell our products to the wholesalers in Singapore, also to the retailers in Singapore. So we did this for more than 10 years already. So we believe that our quality is definitely acceptable by a lot of people. Second reason, because we are using the best technology in jewelry industry. Everybody knows which country produced the best technology. Of course, it's Italy, right? Italy is famous because they can create a machine with such a high precision and the best quality. And Indonesia, all our factories are using Italian technology to create the best quality product for our customers. Third reason, we can combine machine-made and handmade to create unlimited design. This is something different. Many countries, for example, like Europe, they are depending so much with the machine-made because we know that the labor cost in Europe is very expensive. But Indonesia, thanks God, we are able to combine the best machine-made and the handmade to create unlimited design. For example, like this, we know right now there are called Industry 4.0, right? In terms of making the jewelry, now we do not use not only handmade, we are using technology like this one. We are using the 3D printing. We are using robotic machine. We even use the IoT or Internet of Things to communicate with the machines. And also, we are using a lot of people. Each of our factories inside API have at least hundreds of workers to thousands of workers from each company. You know that jewelry still cannot be done 100% by machine. A lot of design, a lot of idea need to be manifested by hand, by the handmade. And the good thing is Indonesia, we have a lot of people that are very capable in doing it. So a lot of things that are not capable to do by machine, we can do it by hand. So that's why our design, we proudly say that we are very flexible with the design according to what customer needs, because we can combine between the machine made and also the handmade. Number 4, we have a wide variety of products. What does it mean? You know, right now, gold jewelry is becoming not only investment, but also fashion. People like to wear gold jewelry on many different occasions, because gold jewelry is not only yellow. Now it can become white, can become black, can become red, can become purple, can many different color. It can suit to the clothes and even to the accessories that they are wearing. So we know that our products can be accepted to the youngsters, to the older people, to the for men and for women, or even for the kids or the baby. We have the products also. And we are proudly say that in Indonesia, it's like one-stop shopping for gold. What does it mean by one-stop shopping for gold? Because we have so many factories with a lot of specialty, so we can create any design, any technology that exists in the market, we can do it. For example, like solid chain. You know that chain is basically the most basic products that every gold jewelry shop need to have. Everybody will have to wear chain, right? And then there is dependent on it. And on the chain, basically, before was Europe is the strongest producer for chain. But now in Indonesia, using the technology from Italy, we can even improve. So we have the most variety of chain in the world. Besides this, we also create hollow chains. What is hollow chains? You can see right now the gold price has been increased tremendously, especially during this COVID, increase around about 40% this year alone. People are looking for jewelry, also for the chain, something big to wear, but lighter, so it's affordable. Now in Indonesia, we can also produce hollow chain. That is, inside is empty, so it looks big, but it's actually light to wear, so it's affordable also. And also casting. We make a lot of different casting, like bangles, earrings, rings with different diamond cutting, different shine, different color. We can combine with some with the doff finishing, with the shine finishing. We can combine everything and become a very beautiful products. And also we can do also a super light casting. If you see this picture, you can see basically this picture looks like a very big items, very big jewelry that has a very high value, very expensive items with many different color and many different design. But it's actually this one, we call it super light casting. What does it mean? I can basically we can make this product, even though it looks big, it's very light, because we are making a very thin line of wire one by one from this product. So let's see, from this, we have a wide variety of product in Indonesia that we can supply to our customer need. And also, since we are based our factory in Indonesia, our cost is competitive. Of course, we cannot say that our price is the cheapest in the world. Looking at the design, that we have a wide variety of design and giving the best quality to the customers, of course, I wish the cost is also competitive to different countries. And lastly, reason number 6 is basically the shipping cost. You know that the shipping cost for gold jewelry is very expensive because it's categorized as the high value products. So and it needs insurance and a lot of different aspects. But because of the near location between Indonesia and Singapore, it's a lot cheaper for the shipping costs comparing to the different country. And what is important is from Indonesia to Singapore is duty free. So with this 6 reason that basically we can give to our customer, especially in Singapore, I believe that it can be benefited to everybody. So thank you very much for this opportunity that we can share a little bit about in Indonesia. I hope you guys can visit our factory in Surabaya or Bandung. It will be a great pleasure for us. Stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pak Edi Yahya, for a very nice presentation. And also, that was the last presentation for this opening. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the question and answer session. I will read the first question from our enthusiast participant. As ladies and gentlemen, the first question is addressed to the ambassador, His Excellency Mr. Suryo Pratomo. This is a very interesting question. So the question is that how do the embassies support in ensuring the sustainable production of gold products that will be exported to Singapore, sir?
Yes, Ratu. I think one interesting they have already explained by Mr. Ho that in this business, the customer is must see and feel the product that they will be sell. So that's why the Embassy of Indonesia in Singapore will facilitate the inquiries from the Singaporean exporter to visit Indonesia. And also, if they want to have a bilateral trade relation, that the embassy can support for that. And also, Mr. Edi Susanto have already explaining very well that the Indonesian product is very good quality, very competitive, and many famous artists have already used the Indonesian product. So, of course, the Embassy of Indonesia in Singapore will be support the possibility to have an exhibition like this afternoon. We have the webinar and also a virtual exhibition. We will continue to make this event in the near future and also a possibility for B2B meeting. That's my answer, Ratu.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for a really nice answer of this question. I believe that we're from the embassy will really help, and also as the ambassador and also the trade attaché is here, we will help our best for the regulation to keep a sustainable product that will be exported to Singapore. Ladies and gentlemen, and all the business participants, due to the other engagement that the ambassador have, the ambassador will leave the event. Thank you so much, His Excellency Mr. Suryo Pratomo, for joining this event. Thank you so much. And now I will read for the second question, as this question is raised to Mr. Ho Nai Chuan, to the President of Singapore Jewelers Association. But as the question, he already wrote the answer and asked me to read it. So the question is, what is your suggestion for Indonesia? Sorry, the question raised to Mr. Ho Nai Chuan is that what is your suggestion for Indonesia jewelry that Singapore buyer are interested? His answer is Singapore jewelry lovers are young and tech savvy, so they want the state-of-art design and not any item readily available in many jewelry stores. So the answer of this question is that creative, unique design with a story behind would really please the entire new generation buyer. And I believe that everyone will really agree on this answer by Mr. Ho Nai Chuan. Thank you so much, the President of SGA. And the third question, and this one is raised to Mr. Nicholas from Seri.
Right.
The question is that how could you share the views of synthetic diamonds, especially during the COVID-19 period? Also, please comment on the market trends of other gemstones like emeralds and also tanzanites. Please, sir.
Okay. For synthetic diamonds, or the current one will be the lab-grown diamond, or we call it CBDs. Now, focusing on this manufacturing sites, that the process of the manufacturing of lab-growns are fairly similar to the natural ones. So only if it is the cost effective, the challenge is the cost effective. Now, however, the lab-grown diamonds do not retain value. So it will cause the raw material will drop dramatically. I believe a lot of industry players realize that they do approach some of the manufacturers of CVDs, whereby they will realize that sometimes certain months that the price of the lab grown will be up and certain amount will drop. This is due to the cost involved. So the question is how feasible it is to use it and to manufacture sectors. As for beside diamonds, for color stones like tanzanite or emeralds, well, it comes back to the questions that whereby most of the stones in the market, I would say, it depends. Some are certified, be it natural or treated. It depends on the supply and demand of in the market. Yeah, that's my answer.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nicholas. So, as your answer previously, yeah, from the feasibility, it can be really seen whether it's synthetic or natural diamond, like the lab grown and also natural diamond. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have one more question, and I don't know who will answering this question, but the question is that talking about jewelry design, I believe that every market have a particular design that is favorable. So how about Singapore market jewelry design to Indonesia, so that Indonesian jewelers can aware about it? I think this is like a bit the same with the question which is raised previously and answered by Mr. Honai Chuan, but maybe anyone will add on this question?
Oh, if you don't mind, I'll take the question.
Sure, Mr. Ronald.
So, oh, thank you. Yeah, so what jewelry designs are popular in Singapore? I think a more timeless design, something that you could wear, well, a majority of the times. So, for example, if you're going to a black tie function, it could be something that you slip on. However, it shouldn't be something that you aren't unable to wear, for example, to the gym or going out to eat with your friends or to the market. It has to have a timeless element to it in the sense that it has also the flexibility for it to be multi-use is also very, very important. When someone buys a piece of jewelry, essentially, they would like it to be a representation of themselves. And for Singaporeans, we are a uh, very practical community, and we like to be able to wear one piece of jewelry in many, many different scenarios. So I think being a multifaceted piece of jewelry that is timeless is very, very important if you want to succeed in the jewelry design space in Singapore. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ronald Lowe. Yes, so anything which is traditional and timeless, just like that is. I think that's also what happened in Indonesia, right, Mr. Edi Yahya? Also, the timeless and can be worn anytime. It's most preferable. Am I right, Mr. Edi Yahya?
Yeah, sure. Because now jewelry, okay, some people think that jewelry is expensive, gold jewelry is expensive. But actually now we are producing gold jewelry starting from even below than 1 gram. So it's a very, very lightweight earring that can be worn every day. So gold jewelry is not something that is very high profile or too expensive anymore. It can be day to day, and also second thing is also can be investment. So I know that right now in the world, in US, also in Singapore, people are tend to choose something that is more basic items, not too fancy, but also that can be worn day to day, like what Mr. Ronald Lowe say. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Edi Yahya. You reflected of the what it needs by the young generation right now, just timeless and something simple, right? Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and all the panelists. That was the last question of this question and answer session. Everyone is answering, and this will be a huge insight for all of us in this webinar and also business matching. Ladies and gentlemen, and all the distinguished participants, as the closing remark, I would like to invite the Trade Attaché of the Embassy of the Republic of Indonesia, Mr. Rumaksono, to give his closing remarks. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Ratu. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. And Bapak dan Ibu sekalian yang menonton dari YouTube, you can see from YouTube channel and also Facebook. On behalf of Embassy of the Republic of Indonesia and Singapore, and me as a trade attaché, I would like to give thanks to all of you. I'm very happy that this event is very fruitful results, so you can meet each other, the jewelers from Indonesia. Thank you, Pak Edi. You have give insight to the Singapore side about our product of Indonesia, jewelry of Indonesia. And also I would like to especially thanks to President of Jewelry Association, Mr. Ho Nai Chuen. Thank you so much, Pak Ho. And also to Director of Business Development, Sarin Hong Kong Limited, Pak Nicholas Chua. Thank you so much for your giving us insight. And also Director of Business Development, Graduate Gemologist, IV Masterpiece, Pak Ronald Low. Thank you so much. In the last minute, you confirm to present your presentation and joining this event. Thank you so much. Pak Edi, sekali lagi terima kasih. Dan Bapak dan Ibu sekalian yang hadir dari Indonesia, kami dari Attaché Perdagangan di Singapura menyediakan fasilitasi ini untuk dapat mempertemukan Bapak dan Ibu pelaku usaha emas atau perhiasan emas dari Indonesia untuk bisa bertemu dengan pelaku usaha emas di Singapura. So I hope that this event can give all of you more opportunities and also strengthen our bilateral trade relationship. And I wish you a fruitful one-on-one meeting ahead. Yes, after this webinar, Ratu, yeah, we will hold a one-on-one meeting. So I wish you a fruitful one-on-one meeting, and hope generated many deals from this meeting. Thank you so much.